Hello, my name is Lindsay Holland, and until now I've been putting up videos about mostly walking or being outdoors and so on. I haven't updated this channel for a very long time, and if you were looking for updates about what I'm doing and my walking and my plans for the Camino and everything else that's happened, many things have happened, and I do have plans to be updating that content really soon. However, if you want to see me unpack a ridiculous number of massive tropical plants, then you've come to the right place, because that's what I'm about to do. So, those of you who know about this and are interested, I'm very keen on plants from particularly Ecuador, all around the world, but particularly aroids. And today there was a pop-up show in Cambridge by Ecuagenera, and I drove down there yesterday, and I've just driven back today with a giant box, which, can you see? Back here. Also some orchids, but we won't go into that yet. So what I've got to do now, even though I'm absolutely tired, really tired, I've got to get them all into water, and I've got to kind of look at the roots, but I'm not going to do that too much today. I'll be putting them in a 3% solution roughly of hydrogen peroxide. This isn't that yet. I'm just going to get them into this water, and then I'm going to take them into another room overnight. And if you want to see what I've got, then hang around. If not, please skip this. I'll put any videos like this, which I might do more of, we'll see. I'll put them into a separate playlist, which will be plants. And I'll put walking videos and updates about the Camino and all of my outdoor adventures. I'll put that in a separate thing. So, onwards. I've got a bowl over there, various bits of equipment there. This has got a little bit of water in it. I've put my little snippers somewhere, don't know where, and here's the box. So, also I'm going to whiz through some of this, so I'll just do it high speed. You won't have to watch this in real time. Anything in particularly interesting, I'll show you. Yeah, so here we go. These, by the way, they came loose. I asked for the box to give it a bit of protection in the car. Normally, if you order them by post, they'll come in a box like this. But because I was collecting them from the show, they just come in the bags. You'll see in a moment. I think this pops off. There we go. So yeah, 39 plants. However, I bought 2 more while I was there, as well as the orchids. That's going to be in my way if I put it there. Logistical problems already. Where can I put this? Right, over there. So yeah, 39, 40, 41 plants in total. Most of them are aroids, 1 or 2 are not, because I've got a kind of cabinet. It's not a cabinet, it's a shelving unit, it's open. It's the IKEA Vitjo, and I've got a humidifier going in there. Already got some plants in there. I need to cut that. There we go. Right, so I also need to photograph each of these, because if there are any issues with them, I need proof of how they look now, and also so that I can get advice on what to do with them. Ecuagenera are really good if there's an issue. Here's my phone. If there's an issue and you can show them what's happened, it's the same with any seller really. It's best to take photos straight away. Not to be difficult or anything, but so that they can help you. This is Anthurium polyschistum. So this is a bit different to a lot of them, because it's going to have, I don't know how they fitted it in here actually. It's, I forget the word for it. It's got many fingers. Polyschistum. It's not just, it's looking quite good. This is the type of leaf. It might not acclimate too well because it's slightly corrugated, but we'll see. So, polyschistum. That's how it's looking. See? Nice. So one thing I like to do quite quickly, I know not everyone does this, but I like to give it a wash straight away. So it's easy in here because I'm near to the sink. So I just wash the leaves basically with water. Anthurium luxury dreams. Inverse crossing. That means that the pollen plant and the pollen parent and the mother parent are the opposite way around to the way they would normally be. So luxury dreams. I've got all of these written down somewhere. What they actually are in terms of the species, it's going to be luxurians, and I can't remember what it's crossed with. What I might do is put at the bottom of the video what all of the crosses are. So if you look in the notes at the bottom, you'll see them all. It's too complicated to look them all up because I don't know what order they're going to be in. But anyway, this looks rather nice. This leaf, it's got a slight mark here. I think that will develop. It will probably go yellow, but it's looking nice. Nice. What do you think? By the way, if I'm giving off slightly frantic energy, I feel like I am. It's because it's been a long day and I've got a lot of plants to get through. And I want to kind of feel a bit nervous, you know, with them. I want them all to be okay. And it's like, what time? 25 to 10 at night. So, got so many other things I've got to do this week too. So I'm wanting to get them sorted well, but quickly. Right, I'm going to wash this. It's really easy to forget to photograph one, and I've just forgotten now, so I'm going to photograph it now. This is a green crocodile. This is quite a little plant by Ecuagenera standards. Quite big by other standards. It's a lovely little plant, actually. It's an unusual shape. It's got wide, kind of almost a flat sinus at the top. I think that one will pull through. It's got some yellowing on it. There you go. Green crocodile. See, there's a little bit of yellowing on this. It tends to develop, but it doesn't necessarily spread through the whole leaf. Sometimes, and that one's got a little one too, sometimes a leaf will get worse and worse. That little one is going to lose that. I like that curly petiole. Oh, not thinking clearly. I need to get the really tap the moss before I wash the leaves. What have we got next? Anthurium magnificent Gigi inverse crossing. One of the things I will mention, actually, I'm taking out chunks occasionally of aroid mix that are still mixed up with the roots. What I'll be doing with these is putting them in full hydro for a while. So that basically for me, after they've been in H2, in a 3% hydrogen peroxide mix for, it'll be overnight at this stage. Tomorrow, just looking at what this is. It's not got a label with it, and I never like it when they haven't got labels with them. It's a Princess of Hearts inverse crossing. So this is going to be a long dangly. I might just cut that off and keep that, I think. I want them to be in pon. basically. I don't use luxurians, I use Soil Ninja. You probably know if you're watching this, but that's basically a mixture of minerals that absorb water. You have to add fertilizer to them, and basically they give the roots plenty of air and so on. And they're quite low maintenance. You can kind of set it up so if you go away, you can use a water reservoir with them. So that suits me well. Also, you don't get fungus gnats quite the way you do in soil. So that's what I want to do with them, but they've been growing in soil, so I find leaving them in full hydro for a while, and I add after a while, I use the one that Kaylee Ellen's developed, Power Grow, Nurture System Power Grow. I found that really, really good, and I've been adding some microbes as well recently. I didn't do that to begin with, because they add chemicals to, I mean, they treat the plants with chemicals to get them through the process of going through customs and so on, the phytosanitary process. So I think it's sensible to put the microbes back in, that they normally have that kind of beneficial bacteria so that they can fight things off, like fungus and so on. So I just think it makes good sense to do that. Last time because if you're putting them in full hydro, I haven't got the right kind of containers for it really. I've been using just kind of cash pots, like vases and things. This is gorgeous, by the way. Look at that. Isn't it nice? That leaf's got some marks on it. I remember that they were there in like the live show, that leaf. It's gorgeous. Really pleased with that. Where was I? I've lost my thread. Microbes, fungus. I don't know. That'll just be a mystery, won't it? What I was going to say. One of the things with the drive back from Cambridge today was there was very little traffic. It was like a 3.5 hour drive. And I thought it was going to be 5 hours because I left yesterday at rush hour. And previously I've really had a slow drive, even just going down to Birmingham. I used to live in Warwick. And we were there, like, there was just no delays, and same coming back today, no delays. And that's great, but it was already a long day and there wasn't any variety in the driving. It was just driving. Same speed the whole way. Talking and thinking a lot, chatting with Andrew. A lot to chat about. Yeah, so I'm just frazzled. But I'm doing this anyway. I've remembered what I was going to say. So, have I remembered what I was going to say? Maybe I have. No, I have remembered. Last time, what I did. What we got here? This is what happened last time. Cutucuense. Variant Angel. I don't know what the variant Angel is. Before I open this, as I open this. Yeah, last time, and I think I'll do it again because I've only got like the ordinary cash pots, like outer pots, the attractive ones without holes in the bottom, to put them in water. Basically, they don't stand up very well, and I also wanted to make sure there was no algae getting growing on them, but largely to keep them upright. I covered them with tin foil. I wrapped tin foil around all of the pots and kind of wrapped it tight around the stem as well. And that kind of worked really well in lots of ways. It probably kept them warm, it kept them upright, probably enhanced the amount of light around, inhibited algae growth. Worked really, really well, but it looked bizarre. So, and like every time I posted a picture of it to Facebook, people were like, what's with the tinfoil though? I don't know whether anyone else does that. Probably not, probably just me. This one, I saw it on one of the live shows, and at that point I was thinking I shouldn't buy any more. Really mustn't, I've already bought quite a few. People who buy on the live sales, you'll know how this feels. And I saw this, didn't know anything about it, didn't really have time to look it up, and it kind of came and went. And I was like, have you got any others of those? They said no, they didn't. And then I kind of thought, okay, well that one's not important, forget about that. And it was one that played in my mind. I was like, it's called cutucuense. I don't know what the Spanish actually means, cutu. But everyone was saying it is cute, isn't it? It's such a delicate little thing. I think it will struggle though, because it's the sort of corrugated leaf It will, because it's going to need basically a lot of humidity. And I might get a Millsborough cabinet soon, but I haven't got one yet. I do have a humidifier. I sort of want to develop plants that don't, like humidity isn't too much of an issue because I've acclimated them and got them used to not having so much humidity, but some are going to need it basically. If you've been following my walking, you won't know this, I don't think anyone knows this, but I went to Ecuador and I went to a few different places in Ecuador, areas of forest. So I have some insight into what the climate's like. And it's not as hot in places as people think. It does get cool. And yeah, it's humid a lot of the time. But I know that there are people, I know that there's a chap with a Canadian channel, can't remember his name, so I'm sorry. It's not a channel actually, it's a blog. And he grows a lot of orchids and anthuriums in very low humidity, like as low as 20. And he manages it by using a lot of moss. It's probably quite high maintenance because of that. So I want to get them down to basically room conditions. But sometimes, and this is one of the reasons I'm thinking of the Millsborough cabinet and stopping like the humidifier in the main room, but the Millsborough cabinet. I'll show you this one. There we go. Yeah, some of them are going to need high humidity, so I'll do what I can. Philodendron. I haven't got many philodendrons, I've got one or two. This is one that later on I thought, you know what, I should get one of those. And they don't normally shift well. And I don't think this will have shipped well. It's a nice example. It looks huge. This is one of the things when you're watching the live shows, sometimes they can look really big. Like if they're holding them up to the camera in particular, you think, oh gosh, that's huge. And sometimes they look small and they arrive and they're really big. So you never really, it's really hard to tell. And you take a screenshot, and they tell you to take a screenshot so that you can see that it's the right plant and you can look at it in between and think, oh yes, I've got that one coming. And you can kind of convince yourself you've got a giant on its way. I did this with a Portija Dreams. It looked like one of the sellers, Patrick, it was like the size of his torso. And I was like, oh my God, this giant plant's going to arrive. And when it came, it was perfectly manageable. Lovely plant, but not a giant. Good size, not like a problem in terms of what to do with it. If it's got like a few leaves that are going to go, but one good leaf, it'll be alright. One nice thing about this is that because I ordered them for the pop-up show, the cut-off date for that, what's the label? Where's the label? Where's the label? I don't know how I've lost that label. Hey ho. So I found the label, I put it over here, hadn't I? You probably saw that. Here it is. Quite nice, isn't it? I ordered, talking about philodendrons not being great in shipping, I ordered a Scramicale pink or Scramicale blood. I'm pretty sure they are the same, basically. If not, please correct me. And it looked great. It had 4 gorgeous leaves. It was like, wow, that shipped well. And when I picked it up, the leaves just fell off. They were like ripe fruit. They just dropped into my hands. So I was left with 2. And then it just didn't grow roots. It, like most of them were fine. It lost some roots in the water quite quickly. And then it didn't grow any more. This looks okay. It's got very fine roots. It's going to lose that one. That shipped remarkably well. What I was going to say, one of the nice things about the pop-up show is that the cut-off date, like today is April the 20th, the cut-off date for orders was April the 5th. And I ordered most of these in March. So people who were ordering to have them sent in March, their deadline was like the 15th of March or something, and I was still ordering a few right up until the 5th of April. But a lot of them I ordered in early March. So they've had a lot of time in Ecuador kind of growing, and if there were new leaves, they had time to harden before being shipped. So I think that might have helped, because I guess they get them to a stage where they're saleable in the live shows, and then that bit of extra time, much as like the last lot, they're great, they're brilliant at shipping, and it does work well. But I think I might be speaking too soon, mightn't I? Oh, right. I've photographed it. No, I have not. Right, where's that label? There we go. Philodendron rubijuvenile. I guess that means like juvenile means young. Rubri reminds me of the word for blonde, but it probably is not that. It used to be El Choco Red, and still is, maybe. So I won't be leaving them all together for longer than tonight, basically. Hoping to get them all into separate pots tomorrow, because if there is any issue with one of them, like root rot or whatever, while they're in hydrogen peroxide, hopefully that would get rid of any issues like that. But my thinking is, if as soon as I can, I want to get them all separate. So loads of people have been really helpful actually, suggesting ways that I can get new pots. What is this? What am I doing? Dimplemanii. This is another that played on my mind. It's really little. I thought this was bigger than this. And I don't mind. I'm glad I've got some small ones. It's really nice. Gorgeous leaves. Let me show you, Mr. Tim. Cute. I like the sinuses on them. They're kind of...
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not
it's
the
dark
same
because it's been in soil.
as they were a year ago.
And for the most part, I think it's okay. You don't want to traumatize it
each and every day.
That's
the past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed.
These
for
leaves
the
look lovely.
better
I've got a
this
feeling
time.
this might not do so.
I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright.
Oh, there you go.
And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright.
I wasn't equaling it. It
I've
wasn't
seen
doing
a
so.
lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago. But all
give that a go.
okay.
No.
I'll move on each and every
No,
day.
that's
The past
wiggling.
is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Yeah, I'm keeping that one separate. I'm just not sure about it. I'm not an expert in any way in any of this. I've been learning very rapidly over... I do learn things pretty rapidly over several months. Did I photograph that one? I know I did. Good, okay. Well, I was thinking once. Amazon Sunset. Now this one I'm not expecting to be very good because it was one of the last that I bought, so it's not had much time to grow. And I asked for it and they brought it out, and I think had I had longer, it was like the last day, the deadline day, so I couldn't really think, oh, I'll wait for a different one. And I figured I'll take, you know what, if they bring one, I'll just get it. So they brought one, and all their plants are nice. So I'm not in any way saying they're not, but sometimes they're a bit bigger, sometimes they're a bit younger. It depends what you want. This one, I think it's got 3 leaves, and after I bought it, they turned it around and I could see that one of the leaves was actually split. So I think that leaf will be a bit of a mess. What I'm going to do quite soon is, if you see me talking, basically I'm going to speed this up and I'm going to start talking to myself probably. You'll see my mouth moving. Because I'll be talking to myself probably, because I'm going to have to speed up a bit. And that's hard enough to do as it is. I think you know pretty much all you need to know at this point, other than what the plants are. Well, on the face of it, this isn't bad. I know I said I'd speed it up, but you probably want to see this. A lot of people wonder about philodendrons. That's quite a nice leaf. And Amazon Sunset is known for being one of the worst for shipping. That's quite a nice leaf. That one is the one with the tear in it. That's going to go yellow and crunchy. But if it keeps it, if it has to sacrifice one, don't mind. Sacrifice that one, fine. That one also has a little tear at the top of it. Again, I don't mind that. If it can sustain itself and grow a bit, fine. That's quite nice. I'm happy with that. That's all right. We'll see how it goes. And now I'm going to speed it up. Something in this new bag is heavy. Maybe many things. It's heavier than the last one was. I'm going without a label. I don't like that. Okay, you're gonna want to see this one. I've got 3 papillilaminums, papillilaminum, as they say in Ecuador sometimes, the double L. This is a little one. There's one that I bought first in the live sale, which is, it looked like quite a chocolatey one with quite a closed sinus, so a bit at the top, if you don't know, which you probably do if you're watching this, but maybe you don't if you're watching my Camino videos, my walking videos and stuff. I think it's that one. And then I wanted one with an open sinus, and Patrick brought one out. And the thing is, I sometimes talk to them in Spanish because it's good practice for me and I like it. So I send messages in Spanish. And he brought it out and he was showing it to me and he was saying, Lindsay Holland, because that's my Instagram. Look, we've got this. And that day I had a delay in my connection. I don't know why. I'd done everything I could. I'd installed new thing. I'd just... And somebody bid on it and sniped me. And I was really upset because it was absolutely perfect. So then there was a lot of emailing back and forth with them trying to find me one with an open sinus. And they sent me a photo of one. And it was a lovely, lovely papillilaminum, whatever you want to call it. It didn't really have a very open sinus like the one that Patrick had found. So after a while they sent me a photo of another, which is in here, with a very open sinus. But it was weird. It's like it's doing this. It's like it's got this one petiole, like with another leaf, and then one down here. So that will be, maybe it's not as pronounced in person, as they say, or in real life, which in person with a plant I always find a bit funny. But anyway, so what I did then is I thought, I can't leave that other one though. That other one was lovely and it's sitting there waiting for me to be its owner and its parent and please love me and all that. So then I ended up buying that one. This is really nice. Look at that. No, not that one. Which one? Where do I put it? There. Look at that. It's really nice. It may be actually in bright light. It doesn't look quite as dark as it is. It's got a little leaf. And it might lose that, but it's got another one on the way. This is the little one that they sent for the open sinus, and it wasn't quite what I'd had in mind, but I thought it was lovely and I couldn't leave it. Didn't actually know it had 3 leaves. That leaf isn't, if you can see it, that one isn't maybe quite so good. It's got a bit of yellowing. That one's nice. Nice. And that one's lovely. It has got new growth on it there as well. We shall see. I'm not sure where that cut off, so you might have missed a bit. It had roots so long I couldn't actually get them in frame. I think you probably did see that. So I've just given it a wash. Really nice. Let's see how it gets on. This is draconopterum. And again, it's not got the label with it, and I really like it when they give you the label, because you can put the label, like each time you repot it, it can go with it, and it's more traceable. I've got the code on some of these, not on all. But hey, I've got a video, so you can see what it is, I suppose. Ooh, this one I'm excited about. It is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, I'll show you in a moment. It's Pangui Night. Now, I asked about it in the live sales. Wasn't kind of one of the first ones I asked about. It was later on that I saw one that, I sort of looked at it on the website, but I hadn't seen many examples of it. And then I saw one that somebody else had. And I thought, that's really nice. And I didn't know what it was, and asked what it was. It was this. So I emailed Ecuagenera, just saying, because they didn't have it when I asked in the live sales, asking if they had it and could they get one for me, because I liked how dark the leaves were and they seemed slightly iridescent. And they said they would try and find one with dark leaves. I thought they just had dark leaves. So, I don't know, I've never seen this plant before, don't know what it'll be like. It's one that they've chosen for me. Quite like that. I like kind of sending them on a mission to find something. I hope that it took so long that my battery died. So I don't know how far you got with that. This is the Pangui Night that I might be repeating myself now, so I'm sorry if I am, but I might not be. I asked them to choose it for me, basically. And I said I particularly like the dark leaves. I didn't want a really small one. And yeah, they said they tried to find one with dark leaves. I thought they all had dark leaves. Anyway, it's nice, isn't it? It might not look all that dark because I'm putting it in front of a bright light. If I put it kind of, it's nice. Long leaves. And it's travel wrap. Like it. This should be, see if you can see that. It should be the one that I said was doing this. Doesn't look like it's going to do that, does it? They do a remarkable job of getting things flat. By things flat, I mean they get the plants flat. They manage to pack them in a way you wouldn't think possible. So they don't actually take up that much space. I know when I said I was going to be picking up 39 plants, although in the end it was 41. People kind of joking that I was going to have like the car with, it would look like I'd got like a sofa on the top and all this, yeah. I think this one maybe hasn't shipped so well. Nah. Oh, it says Lindsay on it as well. Oh. It has got a really wide sinus. If I can get that one leaf. That's not great, is it? That was the big leaf. But look at the sinus on it. These are all Gunayala. Luxurians. But there's variation in them. And look, it says Lindsay on it. It's nice though. Hopefully I can pull it through. It has a new growth there. I don't think that's gonna do anything. We'll see. It could be that my saga with the open sinus papillomaminum is going to continue. It is one of the things that I think sometimes it's confusing in the live sales, which I think are fantastic. I think that the operation they're running with so many plants being sold and each of them being attached to a customer on Instagram who posts in their account number, and it's all then by the end of the day, processed and invoices created. It's just like respect for what they're doing. I think that if somebody asks for a particular plant and they go and find it and they bring it back and they start talking to the person, it's tricky because it's an auction. Well, it's not an auction. It's not an auction. It's a sale. Anyone can say they want it, really, but I think it's a bit mean-spirited. I think maybe sometimes they could say, okay, this person, do you want it? If everyone else can hold off until this person said yes or no. On the other hand, if they did that, then everybody would. It wasn't meant to be, though. This one was meant to be. This one that may or may not pull through. That looks like that's just disintegrated, that root. I don't really want to leave that on because I'm going to take a photo of it. I don't want to leave it on because that's one of the things that sometimes people will say, well, you shouldn't have cut the roots. But the thing is, if you leave it on, it's going to get worse. If you know it's rotten and that's just disintegrated. It hasn't got root rot, it's okay. But some of them are just, few of the roots have just not shipped very well, basically. I think they've been a bit squashed. But most of them are fine. I'm a bit wary of taking off too many roots because I found something I didn't know at first. You'd sometimes have a break in the sheath and there'd just be like a hair. Don't know the inner root, I guess. It looks like a nerve almost. And I would think that meant that the root wasn't any good. But then I found that when they're growing water roots, sometimes the water roots would grow at the end of it and it would become a healthy root again. So I've kind of learned not to cut all of those off. It's the mushy ones that are no good. So I'm now thinking I don't want to use more of the water that I've left to evaporate for quite a while to get the chlorine off it. I don't want to use more of that now. So I'm thinking I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them in the bath because I filled the bath with water. So I'll be right back. I put them in the bath, I'm going to carry on, I'm going to reuse that water, and I put the kettle on because I'm getting really thirsty. So I'm going to carry on now.
Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. It's like you're by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain. I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.
Overall, I'd say that's kind of okay. I think all of the leaves have got an issue of some sort, but there should be enough that some of them will be okay, and then it'll produce more. If I can keep it happy and they can be fussy. So it hasn't got a new one on the way. Oh, it has. So it was in the process of growing another. Won't do that. But it was obviously feeling happy. Feeling happy. It was a plant that felt happy. This is the second one that's actually kind of, the roots have gone into the knot in the back. This one may be problematic because again it's that kind of corrugated leaf. We'll see. I like it. It should be one that hangs down a bit, which I think I like the look of that on shelves. We'll see. It's interesting. There's one that's a bit. Lycodium gobeli. This is a different type altogether. I just think real forest has texture, basically. It's not all the same type of plant. And I like little things as well as big ones. So little fronds, ferns, things like that. I don't know how well this is going to cope with my environment. I just liked it. So we shall see. As I always say, I think the number of times I probably say we shall see, can't help myself. Sorry if it's irritating, it's just me. I guess it's because I'm philosophical. This one has such small roots. See that? I'm not going to put it in with the others because it's just going to fall in basically into the water. I think I'm going to put it in a different pot of water. This one caught my eye because it's, I don't know that I've seen it. I think I've only seen it once on the live shows. It's not a common one. And I don't know whether it'll look like this in person, in real life. But it sort of seemed so green, it almost glowed. It was like the light came through it. It was just, I'm a fan of not just dark, and not necessarily variegated plants, which a lot of people that are really into aroids and anthuriums, they love. They're variegated or they're dark, and I do too, because it adds a bit of depth and so on. But I like greener than green, green with light coming through it. Also silvery colours. So, is it greener than green, or is that an impossibilidad? Nobody knows. I didn't know. It looks wet. I don't know that that's good. It's not good. And it's not greener than green. It's just dark green. And it's going yellow. Nice. It's not the sort of... It looks quite like a lot of others. And it looked so sort of like that with the light coming through it. Anyway, yeah, that's got a bit of yellowing to it. I don't know whether you can make that out. And that. But it'll be alright. That's got yellowing too. I haven't spotted that before. That is a new leaf and it's shipped okay. I think that might go. It'd be really nice if it doesn't though. I love the shape of it. It's really nice. Yeah, there are a couple of little holes in the new leaf, like tiny where it's rubbed thin, because and I think they will probably develop into things that could yellow and possibly spread. So yeah, jury's out on that new leaf, but overall, and some of the young leaves, the old leaves, the little ones, are not, like, they're yellow and flagging. This is a new cross, a new hybrid, as I should say. Panduralaminum. I've got a panduralaminum upstairs. Most of my anthuriums are downstairs. I've got one upstairs. And it has that green glow about it. And when I saw this, it's that crossed with warocqueanum. It's actually specifically warocqueanum fantasy. And it looked neon green. And what I was saying about I want some of that bright green in amongst the dark green. So I'm hoping it probably will be the way the other one was, crossed with panduralaminum. And it'll be dark. But you never know. Maybe it will be as neon as it looked. Quite green. It's not really neon. It's quite green. That little leaf. That one is not going to make it. It's not going to make it. I feel bad saying that. Like it's some sort of race that you have to make something from. One of the things that fascinates me is the way that they change as they grow as well, and they're all a bit different in that way. On the other hand, a lot of them have... Andrew always says you can't see the difference between a lot of them. But when you know, you know. So I don't really know how it could look so... I mean, how do some plants look so different on the live shows? I mean, they're not doing anything. They show one plant after another. I don't know. Need to photograph it. Nearly caught me out. Where's the label? This is tiredness. It's now, what time is it? 11:30. I could have left them overnight really, but then I thought they'd have to then sit in hydrogen peroxide for a while. And then I'd have to repot them into other... I just thought I want to get some of it out of the way tonight. I'd like to have some tomorrow to just have some time with Andrew and my dad, because that's another thing. But yeah, that would be nice tomorrow. What have I just done with the label? So if you're watching at all, if you were watching, you must be thinking, yes, you photographed it, Lindsay. You must be thinking, some parts of this are quite interesting, other parts are incredibly tedious. Let's move on, hey? They're all going to bed and leaving me. I've created chaos. You can't see, I've got the little box over there. I've got this big pile of, like, all of this down here. There's a lot more too. But in a way, I mean, I bring it on myself, ordering so many in one go. For me though, I'm not intending to keep ordering lots and lots of plants. I've got some that will come in from Indonesia. I'm not going to keep on buying lots. What I've wanted was to get them for the shelves, to get it looking the way I want it to look. And the way I am, I kind of get obsessive about something and I need to kind of do it. And then Andrew just came in to see me to say that he's taking Chesky out. He's going to take her out that way. And Chesky's my dog, in case you don't know, because he can't get through here because of all of this stuff. So, and I don't know what I was saying to you now. Oh yeah, the shelving, you know, and like the obsession. For me, I can't continue like this. I couldn't keep on the way sensible people will have a list of plants they like and they'll take their time and they'll look for like the perfect one and they'll really enjoy browsing and being on the live sales. I can't do it. I was interrupted again. Yeah, I couldn't keep looking over a long period and think I'm going to wait for this. I'm too impatient and I'm too impulsive to an extent, and I have a kind of vision for what I want it to look like, and I need to move on to obsessing about other things like writing and my work, and also caring for them and what that's going to be like. I can't keep on thinking about buying more. That being said, maybe occasionally I'll think, oh yeah, you know, because I'll see something that is needed, but hopefully these will be something that, these will be my plants basically. It's kind of difficult because you get, and it's one of the things I enjoy, you get talking to people, I'll show you this, you get talking to people who are really interesting people actually, I think, in the plant world, the plant community, and they talk to you about things and then you end up thinking about getting particular ones, or you see somebody that you know is selling something, whatever. And there may come a point where my own are getting too large and I'm needing to sell some, which I'm kind of afraid of in a weird way, because when I have to send things to a deadline, fine, but I kind of, for some reason, I just don't like posting things. I don't like arranging deliveries and then thinking, oh, I've got to post this thing. I'm just too, I don't know. And then the idea of posting plants and making sure that they're well packaged, and it's just not. I'll probably do it at some point and I'll get over that maybe, but it's something that I'm a bit afraid of for whatever reason. This one again, this is probably one that will struggle because it's corrugated. It's arisaemoides. Arisaemoides. I'm curious about how Ecuagenera organise their system. I see some of these say B on them. So as well as the name of the plant and the code, which is what they sold it under, I know they have kind of table references as well. They often talk about the tables in Spanish during the live sales when they're talking about where particular things are. But this says on it B. They must, because they have different centres around Ecuador. I know they must have some system for, I don't know why I'm doing that, for bringing one person's orders together from lots of different places in Ecuador, bringing them together, and presumably, I don't know whether they get compiled before the phytosanitary process or whether it's after, like in each of the different centres, or whether it's when they're all in one centre. But a lot of them have different needs, like some of them are at different altitudes, some of them are in the Amazon basin. I guess they must try to restrict the amount of time that the plants spend in Ecuador in the wrong climate, but it's quite an operation. Each trifoliate, I think that's probably the word for it. What's my name? Where do I come from? Yes, I did. Good. I washed it while I still had the little bag around the roots. We've reached that stage. I know some people, well, everybody has a different way of doing it. Some people pop them up straight away. I don't think it's the best thing, but I guess whatever works for you. This one's grown into the knot in the bag again. It's gone through it. I've seen some people, they just take the bag off, take the moss off and dump it in the water. And I'm washing the leaves, but just to be on the safe side with... And it's come out. Just in case there's anything on the leaves, basically. It doesn't take me long, really, to rinse them off. I'm not using a soap on them, which I could do. For the most part, by the way, I'm not really washing the roots. Occasionally I'm rinsing them a little bit, depending on whether they've got lots of stuff kind of clogged into them. But I'm not wanting the kind of really cold water from the tap to shock them, so I'm not really doing that. What's this? Ooh. This is my second besseae. They're both little, my other one's little. I love my other one. This one should have a little red, what's the name for where the stem meets the sinus? Can't remember. But it's a red one. Pinkish. It's basically just the stem. You can see the stem there. It's not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. It's really bad. Not good. Yeah. Right. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm not going to put it with the others. I'm not going to put it in any fertiliser. I'm going to get it into water because it needs to be in water. And I'm going to leave it in water. I'm not putting these in a very light place just yet either, by the way. And I won't be doing that with this. This is going separate. The roots look fine. Yeah, fine. It's just little. I should have got a bigger one probably, but then, you know, I've got a lot of plants. It's got a tiny little green leaf. I'm going to end up like tiny little, like that's green. That may pull through. I don't know, it's not great, is it? I think that one. Last time, I had an Andean moon and I'd done a funny thing. I'd asked them to pick a plant that was a lovely plant that I might not think of otherwise. I don't think you meant to do this, by the way. I'm not saying everyone should do this. It was probably a bit just me being me. Anyway, they sent me an Andean moon, and it did look green when it arrived, but it looked limp, and one leaf had just gone like melted, and that leaf kind of took that off like the next day, because it was even worse the next day. One by one, they just did the same thing. And then they went completely yellow like this, and I ended up with 2 leaves left, both yellow, and it just snapped into 2. So I've got that as a chunk now with roots. And Ecuagenera were brilliant about it. They were really good. They didn't have any more. I think a lot of theirs are in recovery. So it's anything with debilis, whatever you want to call it. The Spanish for weak, basically. I think it was Dr. Tom Crow that found it. I named it weak in Spanish because it was really weak. They couldn't grow it. Nobody can grow it. And hybrids with it in are lovely if you can keep them alive. And some are probably better than others. I've also got Wild Dream, and that one's going crispy. It's still going, but it's going crispy. It's not like the Andean moon, which just didn't want to be here. A few more of this. I saved so many pots. Can't find one the right size. Jars? Nope. I am going to add, can't see me, I'm going to add Super Thrive to it. I normally add a bit of this to all of them actually, but not like with the hydrogen peroxide. I'm not going to add hydrogen peroxide to this. I'm going to add tiny little bit of this. Because it needs something to help it get over transit shock, basically. I don't think it'll work, but it's all you can do. I think this, very small. It's only a little luxurians, but it's a silver one or a platinum one. And I rather like the idea of one of these. Cute. I have got 1 bag left, and then the 2 that I got at the show today. It's a big bag. It's a big bag, and it's heavy. What have I got in here? How can they be this big? How can they be that big? There are big ones that I can't remember what's this big. I know I've got 1 calathea, and I've got a columnea, which was hilarious actually, because I asked, have you got any more columnea in the show? In the live sale rather, because they'd had a few. And I thought about it and thought, you know what, that would look good dangling, wouldn't it? And I typed in, have you got any columnea? And autocorrect changed it to, have you got any columbia, which is a type of filler. So, because they're lovely, they have columbia. Off they went looking for columbia, and they're all talking about columbia. And I said, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. You feel, or I felt, responsible and guilty. Oh yes, this is one. I haven't seen this before. It is one I asked them to add by email, moronense. And it's not at all that I intend to try and create hybrids of my own. I wouldn't. However, if I get an inflorescence on them, I might consider it. And then I'd have seedlings. And if I don't want to use the post, I'll have a problem, because what am I going to do with them all? I'll have to use the post. That's nice. It's probably going to be really difficult because it's corrugated. Ooh, that is not great. That was folded. The others are nice. All of these leaves have got some damage. That one has a little bit of damage. That one has another crease mark there. That one has a little bit there. But as I said earlier, it's not meant to be perfect now. It's what it can become, really, as long as it can get there. This is one I bought quite late on, so a bit nearer to, actually probably on the deadline. So about the 5th of April. So only 15 days ago, and now here it is. Draconopterum CF. So it looks like Draconopterum. They think it's basically Draconopterum, but it's not definitely Draconopterum. By besseae, which looks like besseae. That's nice. Again, this on the show looked a lot kind of, you know what it is? Maybe it's kind of hardened off a bit. One of the leaves looked quite kind of pale, yellowy tint, but like light green. Didn't look ill. Oh, thing that's happened not just now, but it's got a very soggy bit there. Can you see that? But overall, it's quite nice. Another philodendron. We will see how this is shipped because, again, philodendrons. It's one that I bought quite early on in this order's period. So not long after the previous order had kind of closed for shipping. So they've had it for a while since I saw it on the live show. Kind of keeping it to one side for me. How they keep track of all these things, it's a really good system. I don't know whether I saw one and then looked it up really quickly and then another one came up, or whether I just saw it and thought I like that and bought it, which is entirely possible. When I saw it, it had one leaf that was a new leaf, and that's one of the things people love about these, that when it gets, not cough, I had a really sore throat earlier when I got back from Cambridge because just breathing car air for like a long time yesterday and today, and then talking all the way. Can't remember if I told you that earlier or not. Anyway, when they get new leaves, the new leaves are a really lovely colour. They're kind of browny reddish and quite shimmery and so on. So that leaf has hardened off while they've been looking after it for me. So they're just 3 green leaves now, which is fine. Like that. Oh, and that, whether that will do anything, but hasn't it shipped well? Shipped really well. It cut off again, so I don't know how far you saw that, but basically, yeah, I washed it and put it over there. This one, different type again. Columnea gloriosa. This is the one that it corrected it to Columbia. And it was Patrick who went off to try and find me a Columbia. And I said, no, put it in. I'm sorry. I'm terrible actually for typing on my phone, or I think it was probably on my phone at that point. Or on the iPad. I just, for somebody who should be able to write well, I'm awful. I send like the most ridiculous things to people. Anyway, this is also called a goldfish plant, or goldfish something, because it gets red flowers on it. Maybe some of the leaves are okay. That is, it's so much smaller than, like, that's the root and it's that long. So I think I can probably get it in there actually. I don't even want to wash those leaves. Did I photograph it? Photograph it, did I? So much of this is about just winging it really, isn't it? Do what you think might work. It may or may not interest you to know I'm on my 3rd camera battery. Ooh. That has shipped well. That little leaf, yellowing, might have been yellowing anyway. So what I want with some of these, maybe with the warrock as well, if a couple of different warrock types. One's in the other bath now. I'm just wanting, on the top shelf, I want things at the top of my shelving shelving unit. I want to have some that dangle down, basically, just to break up the lines of the cabinet. It's a black. I think they do only do the Vitcho in black now. And I did get spray paint that I was going to spray it white with, kind of primer and, you know, all of that. And then everybody liked it black. They're like, it's a bit. It has made our lounge, which is not a modern room. It's not a modern house. It's not to my taste entirely. I'm trying to make it nice. It's made it more modern, quite funky, and I like that. But I don't like the harsh lines. I don't like black square. No. So I'm trying to break up the black lines. I'm basically trying to hide the cabinet with plants. Not cabinet, the shelves with plants. I keep losing the little labels. I like to keep the labels for the. Maybe I'll put it up over there. There we go. What time are we up to? midnight. This is a hybrid, obviously. I think it's moronense and what are the other two? I'm not going to get it. I need to look it up. I'll put it in the thing at the bottom, but it's 3. Basically, a Zuni heart by something that I'm forgetting. Might be magnificum, but I like it because it's named after Cuyabeno, which is where I went in Ecuador, which I haven't told anyone about on YouTube yet, and you might not care. But anyway, yeah, Cuyabeno is the natural reserve in the northeast of Ecuador that I went to, among other places. The other place, and they have Yazuni Heart is one of the Ecuagenera hybrids, and that's one of the other nature reserves, which is in the Amazon basin again, slightly further to the south. You see different things in each place, but apparently Cuyabeno has slightly narrower waterways than Yazuni, and that can mean you're nearer to some things. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to go to that one. Also, it was easier to get to from where I was staying before that. This looked really impressive on the live sale. I know that sometimes they don't ship well, sometimes it looks all right. Maybe that leaf on the back, don't know. It had a new leaf, which may not have had time to harden. Okay, so some leaf damage. That's impressive, isn't it? Look at that. One's hooked around the other. Heck. There we go. Is it really the soul of Cuyabeno? I didn't see anything quite like this, but I saw a lot of stunning plants. And it was only really when I came home that I thought, you know what I really liked? I like the plants. Too late, she cried. Oh, that's snap. Yeah, they've fallen off. Well, yeah, that's a shame. Ooh, that's not good. That's not a good colour. I don't like that. How far up does that go? That goes quite a long. Ooh. I don't mess with it though, really. Maybe I'm not seeing it right. It's snapped there, but it feels okay. I'm gonna leave it for now. Don't mess with it. I haven't photographed it. See how. I'm going to put this one in the bath. So I think earlier I may have said it was a calathea, which it wasn't. It's no, caladium. That's the one, caladium. And the reason I got this is because, again, I'm thinking about what it looks like, basically. The room that it will go in, As I say, it's a bit kind of tired. Hasn't been done up for quite a while. Trying to breathe a bit of life into it, and so I've added kind of bright, deep greens and pink. I'm not a fan of pink. Those of you who saw me get pink walking shoes will know I don't like pink massively. But for this particular room, I thought it was what it needed. So I thought, a kind of splash of pink amongst all of the green. I've got one upstairs, and the reason I got it, even though it's a really common, basic anthurium that you can get in most garden centres, because I saw them just in somebody's, like, the place where I was staying, the lady that I got talking to, who had quite a big impact on me, she had one outside, just in her garden, and I commented on it and talked to her about it. And that was with a lot of greenery around. You'd have a splash of colour. So I like that. Very, very delicate leaves. They're sort of, you can see my hand through. No, you can't. If I had a light behind, pretty, isn't it? That one is looking quite yellow. Tiny roots. Tiny roots. Don't know much about caladiums. Really fine roots. This is the last from my live sale buys. Not an obvious one. Ovatifolium, which I guess just means egg-shaped leaves. That one. It's creased. No, 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 no. I think this might actually lose quite a few leaves. That one looks okay. That one has some yellowing. That one's not too bad. That one's creased. I think all of the others have some amount of yellowing. So I think that one's got a bit, really. At the most, I think I've got 2 that aren't yellowing. Fingers crossed with this one. Right, so yeah, that last one, it was one that I bought quite early on, so it's been hanging around for a while, which I would have thought would give it more time to be okay, but on the other hand, maybe it was sent, I don't know what might have happened. Anyway, it might just be that it doesn't ship very well. These 2 I just got today, so I know what these are because I chose them. This one, I'd seen a list that somebody put on Facebook of plants that were going to be at the pop-up show, which I hadn't expected to see a list like that before. And it was actually really helpful because I knew that if I wanted some, I would need to think about ordering them, think about whether I really wanted them, what I might want instead, and so on. But I did see this Anthurium Beautiful Wonder in Verse Crossing. I wonder if I can quickly find out for you what this is, because I had a list of things to look out for. Okay, so it's Pedatum by crystallinum. And I thought that sounded quite interesting, Pedatum, because that's a polyfoliate many fronds varietal. It's a funny, funky shape, basically, by crystallinum, which I thought sounded really nice. So I got one. At the moment, it looks quite like a lot of other anthuriums, and I know that people who aren't into them might think that looks like a lot of other anthuriums. However, the shape of it with some veining I thought looked quite nice, and also it looks like it's got quite short stems, which can be quite handy when you kind of display them. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And because I'd been thinking I might try and get that one, I'd actually sort of wanted to get a peltigerum or peltigerum, as I know some people find them impossibly difficult, and other people. I saw somebody recently say that they found it their easiest anthurium, so it seems like Marmite. You love it or you hate it, or it loves you or hates you. Didn't see one there, and I really looked, and somebody else who was speaking to that looked, didn't see any. So, saw quite a lot of interesting crosses, but I wasn't really looking to buy many. I thought if I see one or two that grab me, and I had half a mind to look for a few orchids because I don't really know much about orchids, and I think other people in the house might like them here. We could maybe put them in different rooms. I know that the scent of them can be nice, and if you get inflorescences that stink, that might be a nice thing. Don't mind learning about something else, but also I did see them in Ecuador. They live alongside aroids, and I've got some orchids. Let's see how we get on with them. I'll try and care for them. So I probably should have said early on, if you want to kind of find one that is quite unusual. I think it's quite unusual anyway. Stick around until the end. This is one that I've never seen. I've not seen it on their website. I've not seen it in any of the live shows. So when I saw it today, I sort of thought, well, that's not one I was thinking of. I don't know anything about it. I need another drink. And I was looking at others that they had a couple that I want, but I probably want something a bit bigger actually, like some of the other dangly ones. I'd read that they take a while to grow. Warocqueanum by warocqueanum. I'd like one of those, but I think I'd like a big one. Depending on how much space I've got at some point, maybe. And this was a bit more than I'd wanted to spend on something at the show. Not by much. But it is. I thought that was an interesting hybrid. Magnificum by draconopterum. Specifically draconopterum camaniense. So, I haven't come across many draconopterum crosses. And it's by magnificum, which is, gorgeous, really nice veins. I don't know what this is going to end up looking like. It won't end up looking like this, I suspect that. But actually, this has got quite closed lobes, given that it's by draconopterum, which is, you saw the one earlier, it's sort of quite dragon-shaped. It's got, what's it going to look like? I guess the last one we saw, which is by pedatum, you get that shape. That's the pedatum, I suppose, feeding into it. It's only the pollen parent, so it's not going to be dominant. An inverse crossing of this would be an interesting thing, draconopterum by magnificum. But I thought it looked nice. I thought that the colour, the darkness, the sheen to it looked nice as well. So, okay, that's something I've only seen here. It'll be a nice souvenir with the show. I sort of joked that I'd just treat myself to a souvenir, like I haven't got enough already. I didn't take out the packet before I cut the moss off. Why did I do that? I know why. It's because it's 1:45 in the morning and I've not stopped all day, and nor did I yesterday, and nor have I for a very long time, in fact. So I have chaos everywhere. What I haven't actually done, which I really should have done, is add the hydrogen peroxide before putting the plants in, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep them in these containers or not. So now I have to figure out ratios and stuff and get it right. But that's basically it. As I said at the beginning, I'm guessing, if you've been watching my other videos, you're probably not watching now, I may well do more plant videos. I may do a follow-up to this. I may do more just about what I'm doing with the plants and also kind of in relation to other stuff. So I'll put all of this in a plants playlist if I do add more. And yeah, I'll be doing other stuff on adding Camino things soon. Maybe an update about other things as well. It kind of all makes sense. It all is connected. So if you feel like subscribing, that's very much appreciated because it helps me. It helps me know that any of this is worthwhile, which is nice. Also liking it lets me know that you have actually watched it and liked it. And that's nice to know. All of this YouTube channel, I've said this many times to people that are following the Camino stuff, it came out of my notes for my writing, and yeah, it's been clearly something that people have appreciated. And with this, I don't know how it's going to develop, but I'm enjoying it. So yeah, if you liked it, please let me know. If you've got anything to say, if you've got anything you do differently, I'd like to know. If it's helped in any way, or if there's a particular plant you really liked and why, or one you didn't like, yeah, please let me know. Add a comment.